Hey, this is Dr. Green with Momenta Chiropractic, and today we're going to go over a banded external rotation exercise to strengthen the rotator cuff in the shoulder. So all we'll need for this is a band, and then we're going to fixate that band onto something. You can use a cable too, but we just use a band for simplicity's sake. In order to set this up, a lot of people do external rotation with the elbow pinned into the side. We actually prefer it in like a shoulder abduction position, just because a lot of the external rotation that we do is in abduction, whether it's playing a sport like any throwing sport or lifting overhead. It's a lot more, I guess, specific in an abducted position, so we prefer that. In order to do this, what we're going to do is have that fixated there. We're going to bring the shoulder up and the elbow up, but the key is rather than leaving it almost like parallel with the shoulder, we're actually going to go in what's called the scapular plane, right? So the plane of the scapula isn't directly on, it's slightly inward. So in order to do that, we're going to leave our arm in that position, but then we're just going to turn the body in just 15 degrees or so to put it at a little bit more of an angle rather than being completely parallel. And that should help us feel it in the right place there. We can have a little bit of support on the bottom of the elbow using the other hand, or we can take that hand away and just focus on that movement. But the goal is we want to be able to get pure external rotation through, so you'll notice that the elbow doesn't come down or up as much as just rotates around that access point. Okay? So you can use the hand underneath to be able to rotate back, squeeze the muscles in the rotator cuff, and then being able to come back. Now the key is, when it comes to feeling the rotator cuff working, we should feel it almost like right in the back portion of the rotator cuff, or that shoulder there, okay? Now the thing that happens when we do it incorrectly, or when we compensate, is we either pull up and use too much of that upper trap, or we pull down too much with the lat, right, which would look kind of like that, where it's almost trying to dip back a bit, in order to get the arm into external rotation. The reason that we don't want to do that is because the lat actually is an internal rotator, and so it'll prevent us from really getting enough motion out of that. So to do it one more time, we're going to set up, making sure that we're not totally parallel, but the body is turned in a little bit. We can support if needed, but we're going to go ahead and rotate back, feeling it in the posterior portion. That back side of the cuff will hold, and then allow it to come back slow so that we can get good contraction out of that rotator cuff muscle. So this is great, especially for building shoulder stability and coming back from any sort of rotator cuff injury. So give it a try and let me know what you think.